To the channel. Today we're diving deep into a topic that truly captivates the soul, reincarnation. Have you ever felt like you carry secrets from other lives, or that some part of you is much older than your years? If so, you're in for a treat, because we're uncovering 9 powerful signs that your spirit might have been on this journey before. You know, everything you are right now, your fears, those amazing skills that just popped up, even the sudden arrival of a deep love, none of it is just a random coincidence. It feels like every little detail of your life is part of a much, much older story. We're not just talking about destiny here. We're exploring the profound concept of reincarnation. This idea isn't new. It's incredibly ancient, actually way older than the historical civilizations we learn about in school. In simple terms, reincarnation suggests that our personal journey doesn't start the moment we're born into this physical body, and it definitely doesn't end when we pass away. Instead, life is seen as a continuous flowing sequence of experiences, filled with ongoing learning and incredible transformations. Think about it. Have you ever met someone, perhaps even a young person, who just seems to possess a deep, inherent wisdom about life? They might understand things intuitively that others struggle with, even after years of trying. Or what about those incredible child prodigies who show astonishing talents, maybe in music, art, or math, without having spent countless hours studying or practicing? These kinds of phenomena really make you pause and consider that existence might not be quite as straightforward or simple as we often think it is. But okay, if we've lived before, why can't we just remember? Great question. Many spiritual traditions teach that there's something called a veil of forgetfulness, and believe it or not, this veil is actually considered necessary. Why? Because it allows us a fresh start in each new life, without being weighed down by all the intense emotional baggage from the past. Seriously, imagine carrying the full weight of all the pain, every loss, and every trauma from countless previous existences. For most of us, that would simply be unbearable, right? Yet, despite this veil, some crucial clues manage to slip through. It's like little hints peeking through the curtain. I've even had moments like this myself. I remember traveling to a country I had absolutely never visited before, and the moment I arrived, it felt so strongly as if I were coming home. The way the streets looked, the unique smell in the air, the very sound of the language being spoken around me, everything just felt incredibly familiar. There was no logical, rational explanation for it at all, and in that moment something just clicked for me. I understood that maybe there's so much more to who I am than I've ever realized in this one life. By the way, for those of you curious, that country was England, specifically London. Any Londoners watching, let me know. Just like the opening lines of an amazing book that instantly grips your attention, the idea of reincarnation has this incredible power to capture both your mind and your heart. It's a belief deeply rooted in some of humanity's oldest and most respected traditions. By taking the time to explore who you might have been before, you can actually gain a much better understanding of who you are right now, today. Your preferences, your natural inclinations, even those parts of your personality that seem totally unexplainable, they suddenly gain new meaning. It's genuinely like finally getting to put together pieces of a puzzle that felt incomplete until now. And that brings us to the really practical part, right? How do you actually know if you've lived other lives? How do you start identifying these signs that your spirit might be trying to show you? There are actually clear and powerful signs that many people report experiencing throughout their lives. We're not talking about simple little coincidences or fleeting impressions that you forget quickly. These are deep marks, etched onto your soul, that leave visible traces for anyone who decides to really pay attention. Situations that maybe once felt weird or totally meaningless suddenly become part of this grand mosaic, revealing who you truly are at a deeper level. As we go through each sign, I really encourage you to reflect and ask yourself, how many of these signs have shown up in my life? Okay, let's jump right in. Sign number 1, intense and frequent déjà vu. All right, let's talk about déjà vu. You've definitely experienced this, haven't you? You find yourself in a place that is completely, undeniably new to you. You have no existing memories of it, no logical reason whatsoever to feel connected to this location. But then, bam, suddenly it feels exactly as if time has just turned back. The smell in the air, the background noises, the way the light is, hitting everything. It all feels eerily, strangely familiar. That is déjà vu, and look, for a long time science tried to explain déjà vu as just a momentary glitch in the brain, maybe a processing error or something similar. But honestly, those of us who have gone through truly intense déjà vu experiences know deep down it's not just simple mental confusion. It feels like something much deeper, something that touches the very core of your soul, directly. For many scholars and ancient spiritual traditions, déjà vu isn't a mistake. It's actually a breach, a tiny window opening between the present moment and the past. It's as if, for just a brief flicker in time, a memory from another life manages to surface, breaking through those thick layers of forgetfulness that usually separate us from who we once were. Seriously, think about this. Why would your heart suddenly start racing when you see a street you've supposedly never laid eyes on before? Why would you feel absolutely certain you've already been part of a conversation that's supposedly happening for the very first time? These moments aren't random. They're flashes, powerful marks that we carry with us from our other existences. And here's a super important point. The more frequent and the more intense your déjà vu experiences are, the greater the chance that they have deep roots in your past lives. People who report truly profound déjà vu often describe them as incredibly vivid and packed with emotion. They're not just simple sensations of, oh, this feels kind of familiar. They are moments where everything, absolutely everything, seems to have happened exactly this way before. Let me share a true story I heard. I met someone who was always incredibly rational, very down to earth. They never gave much thought to spirituality or concepts like reincarnation. But one day, everything changed for them. They traveled to a small, ancient village in a country they had never visited before. It was a historical place, full of winding, narrow alleys and buildings that looked like they were frozen in time. As soon as they arrived, something extraordinary happened. While walking, they were completely overcome by a strange, yet incredibly familiar feeling. Without ever having been there in this life, they knew exactly where each street led. They felt it in their body, this innate knowledge of the path they should follow, almost as if they were returning to a place they had left centuries ago. They turned a corner and stopped in front of a small, unassuming square. And in that moment, tears welled up in their eyes, seemingly for no reason at all. It wasn't sadness, it wasn't happiness. It was pure, raw longing. Later, when they talked to the locals, they discovered that centuries ago, that very square was known for hosting bustling markets and public gatherings. And here's the most mind-blowing part. They were able to describe in perfect detail an old fountain that used to stand in the center of the square. This fountain no longer existed, but its presence was confirmed in the city's historical archives. At that moment, everything just clicked into place for them. The déjà vu wasn't just a brain glitch, it was a memory of the soul. It was a piece of who they had been, powerfully escaping from the deep unconscious to say, hey, we've been right here before. And that, my friends, is often how deep déjà vu reveals itself. When it happens with that kind of intensity, it's a powerful sign that some experiences were so impactful, so significant, that they actually transcend lifetimes and simply refuse to be forgotten. So next time you get that uncanny feeling that you've already seen, lived, or experienced something that should be totally new, don't just brush it off. Pay attention to it. It could very well be your incredible soul trying its absolute best to remind you of who you really are and everything amazing you've already lived through. Sign number 2, instant connections. Okay, moving on to sign number 2. This one is super fascinating. Instant connections. You know how some people come into our lives slowly? It takes time for bonds to form, for trust to build, and for the relationship to mature organically. But then, there are others. It's like they were already there when they arrived. The connection is immediate, incredibly deep, and honestly, kind of inexplicable. The bond forms right at the first glance, the very first gesture. There's no effort needed. It just is. You feel like you already know that person, almost as if they've always been a part of a story that didn't just begin. Now this is what many call a reunion of souls. And when it happens, It is absolutely one of the strongest signs that we have definitely lived other lives. These instant, profound connections aren't uncommon, especially for souls who have traveled many, many journeys. People and places get imprinted onto the very essence of who we are. When we meet them again, even if it's in totally different contexts in this life, the recognition is immediate. It's like spotting an old friend in a crowd you didn't expect to see. It's no different with people. I've witnessed this happen, right? Before my eyes so many times. Two people who had just met maybe moments ago, and yet they were interacting as if they were old, cherished friends. Their exchange felt so natural, so incredibly familiar, that it was simply impossible not to notice it. The way they laughed together, the understanding in their eyes, the ease with which they understood each other, without needing long, drawn-out explanations. It was as if they were simply picking up right where they left off, on something that had existed for a very long time. And the coolest part, they noticed it too. In no time at all, they started commenting on how it felt, like they had known each other for years and years, finishing each other's sentences, predicting how the other would react, even remembering similar situations they thought they had lived through together. Every little detail seemed to reinforce this incredible instant harmony. Nobody was forcing anything. It just purely and naturally happened. This type of connection is truly different. It goes way beyond simple affinity or that famous instant chemistry we sometimes talk about. When we've gone through multiple existences, we form incredibly deep bonds with other souls. They are our friends, our loves, our partners, on this cosmic journey who from time to time find each other again. And when this reunion happens, time honestly doesn't matter one bit. It could have been just one life ago, 2 lives, 10 lives. It doesn't matter. The essence, the core of the soul, recognizes itself immediately. You feel it in the sheer comfort that person's presence brings you, in how effortlessly you understand one another, even in the silence between you that is never awkward or uncomfortable. And guess what? The same thing happens with places. There are certain places in the world that just seem to embrace you the very moment you arrive. You might step foot there for the very first time in this life, and everything just feels perfectly right. It's as if your feet instinctively know exactly where to step, and your heart starts beating in rhythm with the energy of that environment. It's not just about how charming or beautiful the place is visually. It's much, much deeper than that. It's a reunion. Some people might call it destiny, others might call it a coincidence. But when these connections happen with such intensity and feel so incredibly natural, the meaning is crystal clear. You have been with these souls, or in these very places before. Life isn't solely made up of isolated beginnings. It's profoundly made of continuities, of stories that cross through time and intersect again, sometimes to teach us something vital, sometimes to heal old wounds, or sometimes simply just to continue sharing the journey. Sign number 3. Wisdom and talent without explanation. All right, next up is sign number 3. Have you ever noticed how some people just seem to carry something extra from the get-go? From a very young age, they show abilities that are absolutely surprising, even astonishing without having put in much study or practice at all. It just comes to them so naturally, almost as if they brought something completely ready-made from somewhere else. Anyone who has watched a child pick up a musical instrument for the first time and just start playing, as if they've been doing it for years, knows exactly what I mean. Or think about that effortless ease some people have in learning new languages, or naturally leading others, or understanding really complex subjects as if those ideas have always been a fundamental part of who they are. That's not just good luck, and it's certainly not just a mere gift. That, my friends, is accumulated experience. When we pass through many different lives, we don't just start from zero each time. We actually bring fragments of what we've already learned and mastered with us. That's why sometimes, when we start something completely new in this life, it paradoxically feels like it's already deeply rooted within us. I have a perfect example with my sister, Letitia. Since she was just 8 years old, without ever having taken a single drawing lesson, she drew with truly impressive precision and sensitivity. When we'd ask her where she learned or how she knew how to do it, she would simply say that she just felt how it should be done and then she just drew it. And that's exactly the point. In so many cases, What we label as innate talents are really nothing more than deep ingrained memories of skills and abilities we developed over countless hours and years in other journeys. Maybe in a past life, that person was a dedicated artist who spent decades practicing their craft. Today, the physical body is different, yes, but the soul remembers. And this isn't limited to just arts or technical skills either. Sometimes, it manifests as a surprising wisdom about life itself. It's that young child who offers a piece of advice that you would honestly expect to hear from someone with decades of worldly experience. These are incredibly clear signs. Wisdom that arrives without warning. Talents that emerge without any logical explanation. So if you find that something within you feels almost too natural, almost effortless, pay close attention. It might not be new to you at all. It could simply be your amazing soul showing you what it has known how to do for a very, very long time. Sign number 4. Spontaneous memories or vivid dreams. All right, let's talk about those moments where memories just seem to appear out of nowhere. Sign number 4 is all about spontaneous memories or incredibly vivid dreams. Sometimes images or feelings will just pop into your mind. They don't make any sense. They have no clear origin in your current life. And yet, they carry a strange, undeniable force. In certain cases, these come as dreams that are so real, so visceral, that they leave a lasting impression long after you wake up, making you wonder if they actually happened. You might see yourself in places you've absolutely never visited, wearing clothes from distant eras, dealing with situations that are definitely not part of your current life story. And even without a rational explanation, everything about it feels incredibly deeply familiar. This is actually much more common than you might think. When the mind relaxes and its usual defenses lower, which happens quite naturally during sleep, past life memories can often emerge. They might come as quick flashes, sometimes as complete detailed stories, or simply as powerful sensations that go beyond logic or reason. A follower once shared a fascinating story with me about her recurring dreams. In these dreams, she consistently lived in an ancient village, always playing the same specific role. At first, she dismissed it as just her imagination running wild, but the details in the dreams were so incredibly vivid that they started to really bother her. At one point, she decided to search for historical images from that specific era, and she was absolutely shocked to find depictions of places and symbols that matched exactly what she saw in her dreams, even though she had never studied that historical period before. This goes way beyond just a creative dream, doesn't it? It felt like a genuine memory of the soul, desperately trying to reach the surface of her conscious mind. And it doesn't just happen when you're sleeping either. Sometimes in moments of deep relaxation, during meditation, or even during everyday conversations, certain images might suddenly appear in your mind for no apparent reason. Suddenly a scene becomes crystal clear to you. You have no idea where it came from, but you just know deep down that it's not just your imagination making things up. This is the soul manifesting itself. These are records that escape from the depths of the unconscious mind and reveal themselves when you are truly ready to receive them. Because the soul keeps absolutely everything. Sign number 5. Fears or phobias without logical explanation. Okay, let's get into something a little more intense, but just as revealing. Fears or phobias that seem to have absolutely no logical explanation in your current life. Some fears just arise without any clear reason at all. They weren't learned behaviors. They didn't stem from any obvious traumas in this life, and yet they are incredibly present and powerful. They can manifest very intensely, sometimes starting from early childhood, and they completely defy any rational attempt to explain them. Think about a profound fear of water, even though you've never come close to drowning, or a panic-inducing phobia of heights, despite never having fallen from a high place, or maybe severe claustrophobia, even if you've never actually been physically confined in a small space. These are automatic reactions that simply cannot be explained by what has happened to you so far in this lifetime. When this happens, the answer very well might lie in your past life experiences. When something was traumatic enough in a previous existence, it tends to leave incredibly deep marks that can transcend time itself. These marks can then manifest in your current life as blockages, intense fears, and irrational phobias. It's not conscious, it's much more instinctive. Your body reacts instantly, sometimes before your mind even has a chance to process what's happening. It's almost like the soul protecting itself from reliving those old pains and traumas. These kinds of signs are powerful clues that point towards unresolved issues that are still waiting to be faced and healed. Ignoring these fears doesn't make them go away. It only prolongs the cycle of carrying them. But when we can recognize the possibility that they might come from past lives, we open up space to truly understand them and, most importantly, to finally overcome them. Fear starts to lose its power when it's illuminated by awareness. It stops being just an inexplicable obstacle and transforms into an incredible opportunity for deep healing and liberation. Living with phobias that make absolutely no sense in your current reality is like carrying weights that no longer belong on this journey. Understanding their potential origin is often the crucial first step to finally leaving them behind. Your soul doesn't want to be stuck in the past. It desperately wants to move forward. And for that to happen, you sometimes need to look inward and face whatever still echoes from those old stories. Sign number 6. Fascination with different eras and cultures. All right, let's shift gears to something a little less heavy. Sign number 6 is a deep, inexplicable fascination with different eras and cultures. Have you ever felt an almost magnetic attraction to certain historical periods or specific civilizations? It's not just a simple curiosity or a passing interest. It's a deep, almost visceral fascination. It's something that stirs strong emotions within you, sometimes even a feeling of longing, for a time when you technically never lived in this life. This type of powerful connection with a specific time period or culture is genuinely one of the clearest signs of a possible experience in another life. It's like your soul simply recognizes what it has already experienced. And even if your conscious mind doesn't consciously remember the details, something deep inside lights up when you encounter it. When this interest is intense, persistent, and comes with deep emotional resonance, it usually points directly to unconscious memories from a past existence. The language, the style of clothing, the rituals, the architecture, the symbols from that era. Everything about it seems to awaken a sense of belonging within you that just cannot be explained solely by external influences or your education in this life. Sometimes this fascination also shows up through your interest in works of fiction. Maybe you're drawn to old films that evoke different eras, or perhaps stories set in medieval worlds, or narratives about epic journeys and ancient kingdoms, like the ones you find in The Hobbit or The Lord of the Rings. It feels almost like you are in some way a part of that universe. It's seeing those imaginary lands and getting that distinct feeling that you've actually walked through similar places before. When this kind of connection happens, it's another strong indication that your soul is connecting with patterns and memories that go far beyond what you've lived in this current life. Because even in fantasy, very often the stories carry powerful archetypes and symbols that speak directly to the deep unconscious mind, awakening memories that only the soul can truly access. Sign number 7, feeling like an old soul. Okay, this is one that resonates with so many people. Sign number 7 is that distinct feeling of being an old soul. Some individuals seem to carry the weight of many experiences, even when they are still quite young in years. From an early age, they might show a surprising maturity in the way they speak, in how they handle challenges, and there's often a deep, knowing gaze in their eyes that seems to see far beyond the obvious surface. While many of their peers might get lost in distractions and superficial concerns, these individuals tend to observe, reflect deeply, and often prefer quiet solitude or meaningful conversation over pointless chatter. It's almost as if they already intuitively understand that life is made up of cycles, of ups and downs, of meetings and inevitable farewells. This pervasive feeling of being somehow different, of thinking more deeply than those around them, and not quite fitting entirely into the usual concerns of their age group. That, my friends, is a very clear sign that your soul has already traveled incredibly long paths. The expression old soul isn't just a casual phrase, it's no coincidence. It represents precisely that. Someone whose soul has lived much, accumulated countless lessons, and now carries that invisible, profound baggage with them It's not about being inherently better or smarter than anyone else. It's simply about having gone through enough experiences across time to see life through a profoundly different lens. Those who feel like old souls often notice that certain situations simply do not affect them in the same way they affect others. There's often a noticeable calmness, a deep patience, and sometimes even a touch of gentle melancholy that seems to arise from deep within them. This happens because, for these souls, many of the illusions and fleeting concerns of this current existence have already been encountered and moved past in previous lives. They are not easily swayed by temporary trends. They are not particularly impressed by shallow things, and they much prefer to connect with what feels truly authentic, true, and essential. The feeling of being an old soul also strongly reflects in their relationships with others. It's very common for these individuals to naturally attract others who are seeking guidance, comfort, or a listening ear, sometimes even without consciously realizing they are doing so. It's as if they naturally emanate an energy of deep wisdom and warmth that others instinctively feel and trust. Behind all of this lies the quiet, powerful memory of past journeys. Every single challenge overcome, every love lived and cherished, every loss endured. Each experience left its mark, shaping the very essence of the soul, and now these marks show themselves in simple gestures, in wise words spoken softly, and in a profound presence that seems to carry centuries of interwoven stories. So if you feel this way, if you feel different, deeper, often a little bit out of place compared to those around you, please understand this. It is not a flaw. It is a beautiful, powerful sign that your incredible soul has seen and lived so much more than the eyes in this current life can possibly show you. Sign number 8. Recurring lessons and life patterns. All right, let's get real about the patterns in our lives. Sign number 8 is all about recurring lessons and persistent life patterns. Have you noticed how some specific situations just seem to repeat themselves at different stages of your life? It's almost as if they are chapters of the same fundamental story, being told again and again, perhaps with new characters and different settings, but always with the same underlying lesson waiting for you. Maybe you find yourself in relationships that somehow follow the exact same problematic pattern, or perhaps certain emotional challenges keep returning in different forms throughout your life. Maybe you even find yourself repeating the same mistakes, even when you genuinely intended to act differently this time. It truly feels like something is persistently trying to show you a fundamental truth that you haven't quite grasped yet. These repeating cycles are definitely not bad luck. They are not some kind of punishment, and they are far from just random coincidences. They are in fact lessons that your soul still needs to fully assimilate, to learn and to integrate. When an experience is not fully understood or integrated into your being, it tends to repeat itself. And sometimes these repetitions didn't even start in this current life. They come from far away, echoing from the past. They are unfinished stories, unresolved emotions, perhaps even unfulfilled promises from previous existences. Your soul, in its inherent quest for balance and continuous evolution, actually attracts circumstances into your life that help you close what has been left open. That's why, when you take an honest look at these recurring patterns, you begin to realize that they carry a powerful message. Something is being proposed to you through these experiences, something that requires courage to face directly and conscious awareness to truly transform. Many of these cycles manifest through common themes like feelings of abandonment, rejection, issues with authority, dependence, loss, recurring internal conflicts, and sometimes even patterns related to addictions. We actually did an exclusive video just on that. They might appear as external experiences happening to you, but they are ultimately reflections of an internal movement, a journey within your soul. Recognizing this truth changes absolutely everything, my friends, because from that moment, you stop living your life on autopilot, simply reacting to things as they happen, and you begin to see deep meaning in the repetitions. The pain you experience gains context and understanding. Life's persistent repetition reveals itself as your soul's own beautiful persistence for growth and evolution. These patterns are like mirrors. They show you what still needs to be healed, what needs to be integrated into your being, and what you need to finally release. When the lesson within the pattern is truly understood and absorbed, the cycle finally ends. The same experience no longer needs to repeat itself because your soul has finally assimilated what it came here to learn from it. And let me tell you, this is incredibly liberating. This is the point where life stops feeling like a never-ending sequence of difficult tests. Quick reminder, guys. As of today, May 11th, it's the last day to grab that special Mother's Day coupon for the Quantum Thinking Challenge. The coupon is valid until midnight tonight, so definitely check the first pinned comment down below and take advantage of it. And to all my amazing subscribers who are mothers out there, a massive happy Mother's Day to you. Thank you so much for being a part of this community. Sign. Number 9, the search for something greater. Okay, on to sign number 9. Even with everything you have already lived and experienced in this current life, some people just carry a certain undeniable restlessness within them. It's almost as if, deep down, something is always feeling slightly incomplete or missing. No matter how much they achieve in terms of success, or how many incredible experiences they accumulate, this feeling just persists. It's like a part of them simply knows there is something bigger, something greater, waiting to be found or understood. This constant sense of seeking, this persistent feeling that you're searching for something without knowing exactly what it is very often a direct reflection of spiritual memory. Souls that have crossed through many lives carry with them the echo of what they have lived before, and significantly, what they still wish to accomplish on their journey. They know, even if only on an unconscious level, that there is continuity to their existence. That's precisely why nothing in this single life feels completely new or ever quite sufficient to fully satisfy that inner knowing. There is this deep hunger for meaning, for answers that reach far beyond the visible material world. It's truly the soul's intrinsic impulse towards ultimate fulfillment and realization. Someone who feels this way typically doesn't settle for shallow explanations or just going through empty, mundane routines. They are constantly seeking meaning in everything, in their relationships, in the choices they make, in understanding the very purpose of why they are here in the first place. Often, this intense search manifests as a profound interest in spirituality, in philosophy, or in engaging in inner journeys of self-discovery and growth. When this feeling is persistent, when it stays with you throughout your life, it becomes an incredibly powerful sign. It tells you that your soul is ready to retrieve those fragmented memories, ready to integrate those deep lessons, and ready to move to a whole new level of consciousness. Seeking something greater is not dissatisfaction with what you have. It is actually ancient wisdom speaking through you. The soul knows, and it is always known. And that is why, even without fully understanding why, you often feel like you are still very much in the middle of your incredible journey, with so much more to explore. Sign number 10, bonus sign. Energetic sensitivity. Okay, I promised 9 signs, but here's a bonus one because it's just too important to leave out. Sign number 10, energetic sensitivity. Some people just carry a level of sensitivity that goes way beyond the ordinary. They can easily perceive the overall mood or energy of a place the moment they walk into it. They can feel the energy of the people around them almost physically, and they tend to absorb emotions with an intensity that can sometimes be downright overwhelming. These are often the people who get easily exhausted in crowded places, who are easily moved by the joys or sorrows of others, and who, without even consciously trying, seem to absorb the pains and the happiness of the people around them. This kind of hypersensitivity isn't a weakness at all. In fact, it's often a clear sign of a deeply experienced soul. Souls that have gone through many different journeys across time naturally become more open, more receptive, more attuned to the subtle energies of the world. They have learned, through their past lives, how to connect deeply with everything that surrounds them. That's why, even without any conscious effort, they pick up on frequencies and energies that others simply don't perceive. This manifests as incredibly intense empathy, sharp intuition, and a natural tendency for others to seek them out for advice, comfort, and just a listening ear. They are often the go-to people when someone needs support, even if they've never explicitly told anyone they have this ability. Now, this deep sensitivity is both a powerful gift and a significant challenge. It requires a certain level of maturity and self-awareness, not to be completely dominated or overwhelmed by external emotions and energies. But when this sensitivity is well understood and managed, it becomes an incredibly powerful tool for connection, understanding, and even healing, for yourself and for others. Feeling what others feel, perceiving what isn't being said out loud, and intuitively knowing which path to take, these are undeniable signs that your soul has traveled enough. Roads to see far beyond the obvious. When empathy and sensitivity appear so naturally and with such intensity, it is yet another powerful proof that your spirit carries the distinct mark of many other lives. However, this role of being energetically sensitive also requires significant self-care. Feeling so much so deeply all the time can be incredibly exhausting. Unconsciously absorbing what belongs to others can create profound emotional imbalance, easily distract you from your own life and your own path, and slowly but surely overwhelm your mind and body. That's why it is absolutely essential for those with this sensitivity to learn how to protect themselves. You need to learn to create healthy boundaries, recognize when you are giving away too much of your energy, and make sure to cultivate moments of quiet silence, rest, and intentional inner reconnection. This isn't selfish at all, it is fundamental self-preservation. The sensitive soul needs space to regain its balance, otherwise it ends up carrying burdens that don't belong to it. Actively cleansing your energy through practices like meditation, relaxing baths, conscious breathing exercises, spending time in nature, or engaging in other spiritual practices that resonate with you, this is absolutely essential to avoid getting lost and drained by so much feeling. Sensitivity should be a bridge connecting you to deeper understanding, not a prison trapping you in the emotions of others. When it is well cared for and honored, it becomes a powerful channel for healing, both for yourself and for everyone you interact with. But when it is ignored or neglected, it tragically turns into a heavy burden that accumulates over time and drains your vital energy. So, if you feel things intensely, if you perceive what others don't say, if people constantly seek you out to listen and offer comfort, please take extra care of yourself. Because those of us who feel the world so deeply also desperately need a refuge of our own to remain whole and balanced. Looking at all these amazing signs isn't about getting stuck in the past or living there. It is profoundly about illuminating your present moment. It's about recognizing the incredible truth that life is a beautiful continuity, and that every single experience you have today carries the echoes of those ancient journeys your soul has taken. Knowing that you have lived other lives isn't just some fantasy or a nice idea. It is awareness. It is a fundamental part of your ongoing spiritual awakening. When you truly understand this, everything shifts. Those recurring patterns stop feeling like inescapable prisons. The pain you experience gains deep meaning and context, and your encounters with others. They are seen as powerful, destined reunions. Your soul desperately wants to evolve. It wants to remember. And the invitation right now, in this moment, is for you to bravely take that next step on its journey. So I want to know from you watching right now, which of these signs have shown up in your life? What story do you feel like your soul might be trying to tell you through these experiences? Share your insights and your personal stories down in the comments below. Your experience might be exactly what another soul watching this needs to hear, to recognize itself and feel less alone on its path. Thank you so much for joining me on this exploration today. Don't forget to hit that like button if this video resonated with you. Subscribe if you're new here and ring that notification bell so you don't miss our next deep dive. See you soon.